Hey, good afternoon, ProStart people. Today I am going over Chapter 2, Level 2 of ProStart. Well, I'll tell you what that is. That's menu management, one of my favorite topics. So let me move over here a little bit so I can read my teleprompter properly. But, you know, when it comes to creating a menu for any given restaurant or a hotel or a food truck, you know, menu creation, regardless of where you're going to have a restaurant or where you're going to sell food, we go through the same steps of trying to figure out what should we sell, who are we selling it to, et cetera, et cetera. In the previous chapter, we talked about marketing, how we market a restaurant. But you know, today we're going to try to analyze how to build a menu. And again, I want to say that I'm just introducing the chapter. There are the textbook is loaded with some great examples, and I'll point those out during this video. So a menu overview. What is the whole idea about the menu? Well, you got to bear in mind that the first function of the menu is to inform guests. Inform guests as to who you are and what you're serving. And so basically it's a communication piece. Good point to bear in mind. It also helps us sell our products. And so the menu should be a great representation of everything that you do have. And if there are things that you don't have it on the menu. Too often, one of the biggest pet peeves of diners is they go to a restaurant, I'll take the special. I'm sorry, we're sold out. So bear that in mind. The menu also helps you as an establishment create your own identity. You know, if you're selling a Caesar salad and a cheeseburger and a milkshake, and there's 3 other restaurants down the street doing the same thing, how will you differentiate yourself from the competition? Something to bear in mind. You know, when you get into this chapter, there are all different types and shapes of menus. I'm not even going to go into it here, but open up that textbook and go to about the 4th page, and you will see every type of design menu. 1 page, 2 page, trifold, multiple pages. It's crazy in there, but we see that all in the industry. I used to collect menus years ago when I was younger. I stopped because I ran out of room putting them away. Something to bear in mind. As we, meanwhile, take a look at organizing our menu, depending on what we're going to be selling, you know, we've got to consider, are we going to have all of these things or not so many of them? All of what things? Appetizers, soup, salad, sandwiches, entrees. That could be breakfast entrees as well as lunch or dinner entrees. Do we list what the veg is? Do we have to say what the potato is, what the starch is? What about a dessert? What about a beverage? So these are all components that have to go into your menu. What about the planning of a menu? You know, when you really want to plan a menu, you got to start with the physical layout. What goes where? You're just going to have to figure out where do entrees go, where do desserts go, where does the story of our restaurant go? You've got to consider also the skill of the personnel. If you're writing a menu and your personnel can't execute that menu, we need to take that menu and bring it down a couple of notches. And I've seen restaurants where they create a menu, but the staff in the kitchen can't cook the product. Don't let that happen to you. Let's keep going. What about the availability of ingredients? It's one thing to put something like fresh California figs stuffed with blue cheese and drizzled with balsamic reduction. That's one of my favorite items. But you can only get figs twice a year for 1 week at a time. So we've got to be very conscious of the items on the menu, and are they readily available all the time? Have you considered the wants and needs of the people that you're selling to? It's very important that you know who you're selling to, and it's really important that you are selling what they are buying. So that's another key principle, wants and needs of your market. Plus, with your market, what are their expectations? We should be certainly chatting, maybe having a focus group with people that live or maybe are potential customers, and ask them, what is it you want? Or once you open up a restaurant, soliciting ideas from the people that are going to be there a couple of times a week is not a bad idea at all. You know, we do have profit margins we have to consider. We are in this business to make a profit. You know, in some places, profit's a bad word, but profit really is a good word, and we should all be striving to create a business plan and a ProStart Level restaurant that shows profitability on the profit and loss statement. We get into the accounting of this in further chapters. One last thing regarding the menu, and that is, what about the layout of the menu? The layout, the color, what kind of a font do we use? What about artwork? I need to caution you that sometimes a black background with white letters doesn't read very well. Have you considered your menu? Can people that are sight impaired, can they read your menu? If your menu is going to be given to a guest in a dark environment, such as in a dinner time environment, is there enough light to actually read it? Is the font big enough so that older people can actually read the menu? So the layout, the color, the font, and the art are all important. Ultimately, we got to figure out a sales mix analysis. We can't have all burgers and no vegetarian options. In fact, since I brought up sales mix analysis, I need to say that we're seeing a shift in the industry where we need to be concentrating on more gluten-free items, more vegetarian items, more items that are lactose-free. Our customers, our friends, our family members, they have dietary restrictions that we really didn't know about 20 or 30 years ago. So it's very important that we take into consideration those situations, and we want to make sure that we have something on the menu for everyone. So please remember those vegans and the vegetarians out there and the people that are gluten-free. Lastly, what about pricing? We want to make sure that our pricing is uniform. We want to make sure that our pricing we're comfortable with it, but we want to make sure also, here's another thing, it's not in the book, but we don't want to have our lowest price at $2 and our highest price at $32. You never see menus like that. You want to try to clump all of your pricing in so that it's all within a $10 range. And the goal is we're really trying to shoot for a preferred higher per person check average. So consider that when you're putting together a menu for your restaurant that will be located in, that's right, ProStartville. It's Chef Jackson Lamb signing off. I'll see you at the next chapter, everybody. Thank you very much.